Now, on the Grand Angle, we'll talk about some business today, and in particular, oil and gas and the role of women in the industry. With us this morning is Elizabeth Rogo, the president of the Energy Chamber AEC for East Africa. Good morning to you, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us. According to a 2017 report by the World Petroleum Council, women represent just 22% of employees in the industry worldwide. Why is the figure so low, and what has improved in recent times, Elizabeth?
I would say that the industry has always been and is still being looked at as very a male-dominated industry. And so a lot of women, as you know, are not in engineering. I'm an engineer by training, but you still see fewer women in engineering. With regards to the oil and gas, if you look at it globally, you're correct. It's much lower than one would expect, especially now that we're seeing more women entering the oil and gas, or rather the engineering schools or STEM type programs. But I still think a lot of it would be maybe culture, young ladies not seeing women in leadership roles, and maybe not looking at the oil and gas as an option for a career. So I think there's still a lot within the industry that can be done. And if you're looking at the continent, or the African continent in particular, and let's just say in the area that I'm in East Africa, oil and gas is a very nascent industry.
Indeed, but what are some of the challenges that women face in this industry, and how do you think that those challenges can be addressed?
Well, the major challenges I see are still cultural biases. I would say, as a young student, when I was in Canada and started my career in the US as a field engineer, I was very surprised that I did not see a larger number of women in the field. In fact, I was one of the few women as a field engineer doing work. So a lot of it that I saw was cultural, even in the advanced countries. So other challenges, obviously, again, is, as I said, understanding what the oil and gas is, demystifying it, taking away this myth that it's just a male-oriented. And I also think areas that the oil industry is found, most of it is in very remote areas and maybe not attractive to a lot of people, not just women. But trying to encourage women coming into the industries by using alternate routes. So meaning you don't necessarily have to be going into the field as a field engineer in order to then be able to progress. And that traditionally was how the oil industry has been run.
And you started as an engineer, as you said. So what do you think can be done to help bridge gender gaps in the energy sector in Africa and globally? There surely must be some way, Elizabeth.
I think the industry itself has to show the attractiveness of what's there. As I said, most people, when you talk about the oil and gas industry, just think there's a whole group of men walking around in coveralls, looking dirty near a well site. There's definitely more than that. And I'd have to say, working in the field for me was a very interesting time, a very challenging time, and I don't say that you should go into the field. But the oil industry is much, much more than that. We're seeing a lot of new technologies coming in. Silicon Valley is coming in with, high technical uses in the way we produce our wells.